By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Welcome to another episode of Timmy Talks, the channel where we talk old school magic. And today we are back in Amsterdam, the Netherlands for the semi-final. And oh boy, I'm so looking forward to this match, the semi-final of the Raging Bull series between Luis from Spain. He's playing a Rukh deck, Rukh Valley deck. And it's looking cool. It's looking cool. More about that, of course, in the deck tech section of this video. And he's taking on Wilfred, who is playing robots. It's blue-white robots with some Serendips in there as well. Also a very badass, very strong-looking deck. So both players are about to start here in the semifinals. Now, before I dive into the deck tech section of this video, I've got lovely deck photos of both of these decks. First, a message from the sponsor of this video, 3-for-1 Trading. 3-for-1 Trading is one of Europe's leading Magic the Gathering retailers. Their online shop has a fantastic selection of high-end Magic cards, especially for vintage, legacy, and yes, old school Magic players. They now exclusively offer my community free, fully insured and fast worldwide shipping on all their high-end singles, full sets and out-of-print sealed products. They upload new cards every Wednesday and have weekly sale offers and reductions waiting just for you. Use my code TIMMY to get free worldwide shipping on your first order over $500 or euros. Have fun ordering those cards, and thank you 3-for-1 Trading for sponsoring this video. And we are back and ready to dive into the deck techs. Let's start with the player on the left, that's Luis. Let's take a look at his deck. And here we see the deck of Luis. So Luis is playing with a deck that I've called Rukh Valley, referring to two cards, Rukh Egg and Diamond Valley. So maybe start with Rukh Egg. Rukh Egg is an 0/3 creature from Arabian Nights for 4 mana that reads, when this creature dies, create a 4/4 red bird creature token with flying at the beginning of the next end step. So in other words, it's kind of cool to sacrifice the Rukh Egg to the Diamond Valley, because then you gain, of course, 3 life, but also you get a 4/4 flying bird token in your next end step, which is kind of sweet. In case you don't know, by the way, Diamond Valley is a land from Arabian Nights. You can tap it, not for mana, but to sacrifice a creature, and then you gain life equal to the toughness. And one of the things I really like with Diamond Valley is that you can, of course, use it whenever you want, so at instant speed. So when your opponent, for example, plays a Swords to Plowshare on your creature, you know, exiling it, which is really the thing you don't want with the Rukh Egg. In response, you can sack it to the valley, right? The Rukh Egg to the valley, and still get your 4/4 bird token. And of course, just in general in the game, you've got your Suchi out. The opponent plays a disenchant. It's gonna die anyway. You might as well gain some life from it. So again, you can tap that Diamond Valley and gain some life. Now, when we're looking at the rest of the deck, I think the deck is kind of controlling. I think Diamond Valley also is kind of a control card, right? Because you gain life, kind of giving you more time. So Rukh Egg and Diamond Valley, but also there are 2 Jam Day Tomes in here. Jam Day Tome, a card for 4/4 and tap to draw a card. Seems really slow, but it's actually really good. And remember, this is old school, so you don't have that much recurring card draw. So Jam Day Tome is really a strong card in this format. And talking about strong cards, he's also playing, of course, with the 2 black cards here, Mind Twist and Demonic Tutor. I guess we're probably going to see that in every deck here in the top 8. And then we also have that blue power with Ancestral Recall and Time Walk. So those are kind of the color splashes in here. So we've got a splash of black, we've got a splash of blue. And then we also see 2 Lightning Bolts, and we see a Fireball. We see 4 Suchis. Again, Suchi quite strong in a format like Swedish because there's no mana burn. We also see a Wrath of God. Wrath of God, of course, having great synergy with the Rukh Eggs. And we also see 3 Serra Angels. And what I always find like interesting about these lists is like, how do you get to this point where, you know, you're trying to make space and you decide to just play 2 Lightning Bolts instead of 4 Lightning Bolts. You decide to play 4 Disenchants. You know, there are all these slots that are kind of like, you've got some options. You can choose, maybe I'm going to shave a card of here, maybe I'm going to shave a card of there, so I have more space for other cards. And for me, when I'm building with, for example, Diamond Valley, one of my main issues with the Diamond Valley is that, yes, it's an amazing card, don't get me wrong, but it takes a land drop, so it slows you down. Also, it doesn't tap for mana, right? So you still need the same amount of lands to be put into your deck. So it's like extra lands that you're adding. And of course, they're really good when you have a creature. But if you don't have a creature, they're not that good. And what I find interesting about Luis's list is that he's not playing with any cards to steal the creature of the opponent, like Control Magic or Disharmony. He's not playing with those cards. So he's really using the Diamond Valley, you know, for his own good. And I guess also as a protection maybe from steal effects of the opponent. Maybe if an opponent would try to steal it with the control magic, of course, you can then also use your Diamond Valley defensively. And it's pretty cool to see a deck with 4 Rukh Eggs and 3 Diamond Valleys, you know, making it into the semifinals. And who knows, maybe it's even gonna win the tournament. But if Louis wants to win the tournament, he first has to win against the Dutchman Wilfred. So let's take a look at his deck. And here we see the deck of Wilfred. So this is of course robots, and a robots deck always refers to the artifact creatures in the deck. We see 4 Suchis here, the 4/4/4 that Louis is also playing with, and we see 4 Triskelions, that's 6 to cast for a 1/1 that comes into play with 3 +1/+1 counters, and you can take those counters off to deal 1 damage to any target. Now what makes these cards so good is the fact that you've got a card called Copy Artifact, that's 1 blue and 1 an enchantment that allows you to copy an artifact in play. So you can of course start copying your own artifact creatures, and before you know it, you'll have an whole army and you can start attacking. The first thing I notice about this deck is that there are no Sages of Latinum in this deck. Sage of Latinum is usually a weapon of choice when you're playing a robots deck because you can sack your artifacts to draw cards, and also there's no Gem Day Tome in this deck. So there's not a lot of card draw in the deck of Wilfred. He does of course have a Time Twister, Ancestral Recall, he's got a Brain Geyser, so there is some card draw in there, but they're not the controlling elements. So earlier with Lewis's deck, I discussed with you the control elements that we saw in the deck, right? The Rukh Egg, the Diamond Valley, we saw the Gem Day Tomes. In this deck, the deck is more aggressive. You can see that straight away. So I think in this matchup, Wilfred will really be the aggressor. And, you know, Wilfred is also playing with white. So he's got a lot of answers, just like Louis. He's got Disenchants, he's got Divine Offering, he's got 3 Swords to Plowshares. He's also playing with the black again, you know, the Black Splash, Demonic Tutor, Mind Twist. So, you know, those cards, you know, keep coming back because they're just so good. We don't see any counter magic. Actually, that's not true. We do see 1 mana drain. Another card that I find quite interesting in this build is the 3 Surrender Befrieds. So we see the 3/4 flyer here from Arabian Nights for 1 blue and 2. It kind of shows how good the Surrender Befried is. So Wilfred here is making a choice not to play Sage of Latinum, for example, or to play Gem Day Tome, for example. No, he wants more aggression. So he's really the aggressor here. The 3 Surrenders that kind of show the intention of the deck. You know, then in the sideboard, we're seeing some Abysses, which are, of course, great with the robot strategy. Not so good in this matchup, because remember, Luis is playing with 4 Suchis. He's also playing with Rukh Eggs that you want to sack to the Abyss, probably, because then you're just going to get a 4/4 flyer. So, you know, the Abyss, probably not that useful in this matchup. He's also playing with 2 City in a Bottle. City in a Bottle could be worth playing. The thing, though, is that if you play City in a Bottle and a Rukh Egg is in play, the Rukh Egg gets discarded to the graveyard, so destroyed, and then of course you get a 4/4 token. The token is not affected by the City in a Bottle, so City in a Bottle can kind of backfire against you as well. On the other hand, as soon as the city's out, Luis will no longer be able to cast the Rukh Eggs, and of course the City of Brass will take care of the Diamond Valleys and of all the other Arabian Nights lands that are in the game. So it could also be useful. I think it depends. I think if you're Wilfred and you're running into a Diamond Valley and lose because of Diamond Valley, you're probably going to board it in the second game. But I think I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm making predictions here. Looking at these decks, I'm not quite sure who's the favorite, to be honest. I think Luis has more answers, is more the control player, but Wilfred's deck is looking so strong. It's so aggressive. I'm just going to say 50-50. If you've got a strong favorite, by the way, please let me know in the comments below and let me know why you think this deck is the favorite in this matchup. Anyway, enough talk. Time to go to the actual semifinals here of the Raging Bull series. Enjoy. Game number 1, here we go. So I believe it's Wilfred on the play. He's sitting on the right. So he's playing blue-white robots with, of course, that Black Splash, Demonic Tutor, Mind Twist. And his opponent is Luis, and he's playing Rukh Valley. It's mainly white and red, but he's also got blue and black cards in there. The splashes for Ancestral Recall, Time Walk, and also the Demonic Tutor and the Mind Twist. So, of course, those cards keep coming back here in the lists. And yeah, really curious to see how the Diamond Valley of Luis will do. And I discussed in the deck that I think that Luis is definitely more the control player, having the Diamond Valleys, the Rukh Eggs, the Gem Day Tomes, and Wilfred is really the aggressor here, having a very aggressive deck. Opening here with the Tundra Double Mox. And okay, there we see an Ancestral Recall. What a start here for Wilfred. Insane. Gonna pick up 3 cards. Dream start for Wilfred. And the question is, can he already play out a creature this turn, or will he start playing out creatures next turn? He's playing with 4 copy artifacts, 4 Suchis, 4 Triskelions, and also playing with 3 surrendered Befriets. And of course, he wants to get a Suchi or a Trike out as quickly as he can and then start copying it like crazy. So passing their turn here, by the way. Let's see what Louis can do in his first turn. There we see a Tundra for him as well. Does have a Swords to Plowshares there in hand, so can easily deal with a creature threat. Also has an Ancestral Recall, going to play it here in the upkeep of Wilfred. So both players playing out their Ancestrals. So at least that card's now out of the way. There we see a Demonic Tutor, I believe, picked up for Wilfred. This is going to be an interesting turn. Will he be able to play a creature? That's a big question. There's an Underground Sea, so he's got 4 mana. Are we going to see a Suchi? No, there's an Icy Manipulator. So the artifact for 4, pay 1 and tap, and then can tap down target land, artifact, or creature. And let's see what Louis can do. He's got a lot of cards to work with, maybe too many cards. I mean, you don't want to discard. Does he have some Moxen in there? Because that's always nice to kind of play out your Moxen to make sure you don't discard anything. There we see a Black Lotus, okay. Also good. Has a Rukh Egg in hand. I mean, do you really want to use your Lotus for Rukh Egg, though? It's going to tap 2. Yeah, there's a Disenchant on the Icy. So, I mean, Louis is doing a pretty good job at emptying his hand. Doesn't have to discard anything here. Can just pass turn back here to Wilfred. And I think if you're Wilfred, you're like, okay, you've used, my Icy's gone, but at least you've used up a Disenchant. So that's good news. I mean, in Wilfred's deck, against Wilfred's deck, I mean, a Disenchant is kind of like creature removal. Because it can target your Suchis, your Trikes, and also your copy artifacts. Sol Ring now being played out by Wilfred, by the way. I do believe I see a Triskelion in his hand, if I'm not mistaken. So if you can have a land drop, you could cast a Trike. Louis, I believe, has a Swords in hand, so can deal, of course, with a Trike, but still. There we see the land, a Tundra. So 2 Tundras and an Underground Sea here for Wilfred. Then a Mox Emerald, a Mox Jet, and a Sol Ring. So having a lot of mana here. It's just turned 3. It's going to tap 6. Are we going to see the Trike? There's a Triskelion hitting the board. And Louis now taking his turn. Untap, upkeep, and draw. Kind of expecting to see that Swords to Plowshares here. Also because you don't want to let Wilfred untap with 2 blue open. Because remember, both players haven't seen each other's deck lists. So for example, Louis doesn't know that Wilfred is only playing with 1 mana drain. And of course the same thing counts for Wilfred. Also, he doesn't know how many counterspells Louis has in his deck. Which actually is 0. So going through his hand again. 7 cards for him. Ooh, is that a Mind Twist in hand? Could he go for Mind Twist? That would be brutal. Second the Lotus. No, it's a Demonic. So he has 1 black floating. Could still go for a Mind Twist. Though, Mind Twist of 3. Exactly. Oh, Demonic into Mind Twist. Wrecking the hand here of Wilfred. And Wilfred losing his balance here. But more importantly, also losing his own Demonic Tutor. Yeah, this was a nice moment for Louis because also he didn't have to worry about counter magic because Wilfred is tapped out. And on top of that, also he could Mind Twist Wilfred for 3 and he had 3 cards in hand precisely. So everything kind of came together here for Louis. There's the attack with the 4/4. So Wilfred dealing the first damage here of the match. Louis dropping here to 16. Another Triskelion on the board. Not a bad top deck, but I do believe Louis has some answers there in hand. So we're probably going to see some Swords to Plowshares being fired off here. There's another Tundra hitting the board. So 2 Tundra and 2 Plateau for Louis. Taking a moment here to think. Now remember, this is of course the semifinals. Going to tap 4. Oh, Wrath of God! Wow! That does mean 6 damage. This is of course the added value of Triskelions. So, I mean, Louis's life is halved, it's on 10. The problem, though, is Wilfred is in top decking mode, already played out his Ancestral Recall, kind of needs some card draw here. Time Twister would be great, but also Brain Geyser, of course, will be a great card to find. 1 card in hand, passes the turn back to Louis. Louis having 4 mana available here. Still has that Rukh Egg in hand. Gonna tap 4. There's a Gem de Tome. Gonna pass the turn. That Tome can really kind of take it away for Louis here. Another card drawn, Disintegrate. Interesting card to find. No red though for Wilfred. But if you can find a red source, remember Louis is on 10. 2, 4, 6, 7 mana already available for Wilfred. So could be interesting at a later moment. The other card in Wilfred's hand is a Swords to Plowshares, by the way. So Louis drawing a card for turn. Let's see what he can do. Okay, there's a Strip Mine, passing the turn. So probably just going to use the book on end step here. That's a strategy of Louis. Passing the turn here to Wilfred. Wilfred drawing card number 3. Tapping 2, what are we going to see? Oh, there's a Disenchant. So now at least he can get some value out of the book. You know, it replaced itself, I guess. So drawing a card. And of course, Wilfred has to do this, right? I mean, you're definitely going to lose against an active Gem de Tome in this scenario. So of course, his Disenchant is a good decision by the Dutch player. Let's see what Louis can now do. Can he put something on the board? He's playing, of course, with Serra Angels, Suchis, and also Rukh Eggs. I believe he's got a Rukh Egg in hand now for a while. He's going to tap 4. Are we going to see the Rukh Egg? That's the question. Ooh, we also see... Is that a library in hand for Louis? There's a Suchi, by the way, so no Rukh Egg. Okay, there we see the Library of Alexandria. Wilfred asking a card count. It went too fast for me, I'm sorry. But Swords to Plowshares here, by the way, on the Suchi. Suchi should be removed. 4 life gained for Louis. He's going to go up to 14. And I mean, this, exactly, Wilfred. This library could be devastating for Wilfred. Because I think Louis has 6 cards in hand. So probably going to draw 7 and have an active Library of Alexandria. 2 cards here in hand for Wilfred. One of them, of course, is that Disintegrate. Asking again about the amount of cards in hand. Yeah, there's the pass. Untap, upkeep, and draw. Yeah, I believe he's got 7 cards in hand now. Or not. Maybe I'm mistaken. He's playing the book, so I guess he doesn't have 7, or else he would have activated the Library of Alexandria here. Here we see a Divine Offering. So more life gained here for Louis. He's going to go up to 18. Or actually, Wilfred, of course, gains the life from the Divine Offering. It's not a Swords to Plowshares. Sorry, guys. It's also not a Crumble. So life gained by Wilfred instead. So Wilfred going 4 life up. He's up to 24 now. And 14 for Louis. But life totals don't say a lot here at this stage in the game. It's really about control. And I mean, I still feel that Wilfred really needs to find that Time Twister or Braingeister to kind of get back into this. Also, of course, a Strip Mine against the Loa would be quite nice for him. So let's see what he is going to do. 2 cards in hand for him. One of those 2 cards is the Disintegrate that he cannot play out. The other card, I don't know. It's hard to see. There's the pass. And even if you have nothing, even if your 2 cards are not good, I do like, that Wilfred is taking his time and is kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to pretend that I have something. You know, again, kind of thinking, what shall I do? And this is good. It's also, of course, a psychological game. And then passing the turn, pretending to have a very important decision to make. And now we see Louis, by the way, using the Library of Alexandria for the first time. And this is trouble here for Wilfred. This is going to be really tough. Battling against an active Loa. There we see the Rukh Egg. Rukh Egg Diamond Valley combo here in the semi-finals. Assembled for Louis, the Spanish player. And then Wilfred here reading the card. Probably wants to know absolutely sure about what the card does. So you can tap and sacrifice a creature. Gain life equal to the toughness of that creature. And of course with Rukh Egg, if you sack it to the valley, you gain 3 life because it's an 0/3, but also you get a 4/4 flying bird token at the beginning of your next end step. And Yeah, look at this. Wilfred really not finding anything useful. Finding that Mox Sapphire from the top turn before that, a Mox Pearl. So yeah, pretty bad situation here for the Dutch player. 3 life gained here for Louis. And there's the Rook tokens, having a 4/4 flying bird token now. Oh man, look at this life of luxury for the Spanish player, using the Aloha for a second time. There's the attack. Yeah, and I think from this point forward, it's going to go very, very quickly. I mean, Louis has absolute control. It's going to tap 5. There we see the Sarah Angel. There's a quick Swords to Plowshares on the Sarah, so 4 more life gained for Louis, so he's going to go up to 21, I believe. Passes the turn here, back to Wilfred. I mean, Wilfred really has to hit the top decks now. Remember, Balance is also gone. Balance would be great in this situation, but that card got mind twisted out earlier. Here we see a Black Lotus. Yeah, these are not the cards. I mean, Black Lotus, though, combination with Disintegrate. The problem is, Louis was on 10 at a certain point, but now because of all the Swords and the Diamond Valley activations, he's now all the way up to 21. Yeah, he just 21. He'll be unable to make that. Maybe he's even considering playing a Disintegrate here on the 4/4 bird. Passes the turn here. So let's see if he wants to fire off Disintegrate. How big can it get? So we've got 3 from the Lotus. Then we've got 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I believe he can do a Disintegrate for 11 life, which is, of course, not enough here. Louis here playing more problems out in the form of a Mishra's Factory. There's the attack. Probably going to pump it. Exactly 7 points of damage here for Wilfred. Dropping to, what is it, 14? No less. 13, okay. Yeah, this is bad for Wilfred. I mean, of course you're going to continue playing here. Remember, this is the semi-final, so there's no time limit. And I do believe Wilfred found a blue card there from the top, so let's hope for him it's a Time Twister or a Brain Geyser, because those are the only 2 cards that can kind of get him back into this game. I mean, if it is a Time Twister, he could even consider... Oh, it's not. It's a copy artifact. Yeah, that's too bad. Copying the Black Lotus, passing the turn. So really trying to just get as much mana as possible to burn Louis out. But I don't think that's going to be an easy task, because remember, Louis has, of course, that Diamond Valley. So in response to, for example, a huge Disintegrate, he could sack his 4/4 bird token to gain an additional 4 life. So, I mean, Wilfred really needs a lot of mana here to make that plan work. Louis here finding another Mox, probably going to swing in here for 8. Exactly, going to attack for 8. That would put Wilfred on 5. Yeah, there he goes. Untap, upkeep, and draw. Let's see what he can find. There's a Suchi. Yeah, Suchi can stop one of the 2 factories. It's not enough, though. So to stay alive, he has to play a Disintegrate on the 4/4 bird token and then cast a Suchi. Gonna sack. Ooh, he's counting. I mean, he could just play a big Disintegrate and say, you know, you've got the first game. But I think it's probably wiser here to use your Disintegrate against the 4/4 bird token. Gonna tap the Sol Ring here. Gonna tap 4. Are we gonna see the Suchi? There's the Suchi. 4/4 creature from Antiquities. Yeah, he has got to use a Disintegrate here because the bird token flies. I mean, could decide... Well, no, you're going to die, right? I mean, I want to say could decide to go to 1, but you're not going to go to 1. You're going to die if Louis attacks with everything. And that is expecting the Suchi to live, of course, which I don't think it will. So here we see Wilfred sacking the copied Black Lotus. Yep, there's a Disintegrate. And now, of course, Louis is in response going to use his Diamond Valley. Exactly, going to gain 4. 4 more life gained. Insane. So he's now on, what is it, 25 life. Wow. Diamond Valley doing work here. There's a disenchant. Making matters even worse. And you know what? Wilfred is saying, you know, you got this, man. That's too much. So game one here won by the Spanish player Luis, and now both players are going to shuffle up and dive into their sideboards, and we will catch back up with them in game number 2. Game number 2, here we go. Look at this opening, Wilfred, starting with the Library of Alexandria. This is what he needs to get back into this. Of course, one game down. Ooh, this is painful though. Quick strip mine taking care of the low end. Remember, Wilfred was on the play, so only 6 cards in hand. Couldn't even draw a card in response. So perfect answer here by Luis. And yeah, look at that. Some banter here between the players. And Wilfred here playing out another land Tundra here. And a much slower start here for both players compared, of course, to the first game. There we just see a land drop and a pass. So no Moxen yet, no Black Lotuses, no Soul Rings. Just honest, fair magic here with land drops. There we see a Mishra's Factory. We do see a balance in hand there as well. Okay, so I was talking about fair magic, so that's done now, I guess, because we see an Ancestral Recall, 3 cards drawn here for Wilfred. Finding a Mox Ruby on the battlefield. Also a Mana Drain there in hand, I believe. And perhaps a Suchi behind that Mana Drain. Yeah, I believe it's a Suchi. And I also saw a balance earlier. Look at the graveyard of Wilfred. I mean, that's just beautiful, right? We see in a Library of Alexandria, and we see an Ancestral Recall. Let's see what Wilfred can do, or just passes the turn. Luis taking on his 3rd turn here. There's a Black Lotus from the top, I believe. Is he going to use it? That's the question. There we see a Badlands. The dual land that you can tap for a red mana or a black mana. There's the pass. And Wilfred here having a scrub land in hand there, I believe. But also a City of Brass, playing the City of Brass. Makes sense, of course, because he's got that Mana Drain in hand. The only counterspell in his deck. Card from Legends. Is he going to play out a creature? That's the question. Does he have one? We did see that Suchi, actually, so he does. Right? Could tap 4, play the Suchi. Passes the turn. Also plays with Serendip Efreets. There we see a Mishra's Factory, Winter Edition by the Spanish player. It was a very international setting here in Amsterdam. Lots of players from all over the world. Looks like Luis is just going to pass here. Exactly. Wilfred drawing his card for turn. Okay, there's a Time Walk found. There's the Scrubland. I mean, next turn, potentially, you could have land drop. Suchi, then Time Walk, then attack with Suchi. That could be a line. But that would be next turn. He doesn't have enough mana to do it now, unless, of course, he's got a Mox or a Soul Ring, but I don't believe it's in his hand. So Wilfred here having 5 mana available in the tank. Probably trying to decide, do I want to play out the Time Walk right now, or do I want to wait? I would be tempted to just wait a little bit to see if you can get some more value out of the Time Walk than just a tempo play. Yep, there's the pass. I think this is a good decision. Based on what I can see of the hand, of course, of Wilfred. Luis finding another land here. Another Tundra. So both players, having a full grip of cards. But remember, both players are playing, with a lot of answers in their decks. So perhaps those hands are like full of Swords to Plowshares and other answers. There's the pass here by Luis. There's a sword here from the top for Wilfred. He actually needs another land, right? Because then he can do what I just discussed the prior turn, if he wants to, of course. Then he can go for the Suchi Time Walk play, the double spell. But it looks like he doesn't have another land there in his hand. He's going to tap 2, 3, and 4. Probably going to see the Suchi. There's the Suchi. And this is the kind of annoying thing when you're playing with counter magic, is that you don't have enough mana to and play your creature and potentially protect your creature. He's going to pass. We're probably going to see here a disenchant or a swords on end step. That's kind of what I'm expecting here from Lewis. It looks like he's thinking about other options, but... Ooh, okay, so I guess he wants to draw a card first. See what he gets. So perhaps he didn't have a disenchant in hand. Or a swords. Or just wanted some more information. There we see a Mox Emerald. Ooh, there's a Divine Offering. That would be a really nice answer to that Tsuchi. Divine Offering, a card from Legends for 1 white and 1. And when you destroy an artifact, you gain life equal to the casting cost. Also has a Time Walk in hand. So maybe he's considering playing Time Walk and Divine Offering and then do something else. Perhaps attack with the Mishra's Factory. Doesn't have enough mana for that though, so then he could do that in his extra turn. Anyway, we first see the Divine Offering taking care of the Tsuchi. So 4 life gained for Luis. He's going to go up here to 24. Passes the turn. So very patient player. Really waiting and wants to make the optimal plays, which makes sense. There we see a Strip Mine. So Strip Mine found. Let's see what he can do. Really in the tank here. One of the things he could consider doing is animating his factory attack. And then as soon as Luis animates his factory, he can play a Swords to Plowshares on it. That could be a line. Yeah, he's going to animate. He's going to attack here with the 2-2. There's the damage. So Luis just taking it. There's the pass. And of course he can. He's on 24. It's easy for him to just take 2 damage. He's now on 22. No problem for the Spanish player. But I understand this move here by Wilfred. You have to do something. And like I said, if Luis would animate the factory, you could take care of it with your swords. If he doesn't, fine, you deal 2 damage like Wilfred just did. And now I wonder if Luis is going to attack with his factory. There we see the Black Lotus. There's the pass. Very, very patient. Untap, upkeep, and draw here for Wilfred. I mean, if I was Wilfred, I would just do the same. Let's see if you can deal 2 damage again. Why not? He's on 22. Can you get him to 20? Nothing to lose. Another swords, I believe, picked up from the top, by the way. Yeah, and white, of course, being a very popular color in old school because it gives you access to Swords to Plowshares, Disenchant, and Balance. And, of course, the Sarah Angel. It's going to tap 2. Okay, there's a Disenchant on the Black Lotus. So he is worried about that Black Lotus. And it's an interesting move, of course, for Luis to kind of play the Lotus out. Did he play it out to attract artifact removal? It makes you wonder. Wilfred tapping 2. Okay, he's going to take an extra turn, it seems, with the Time Walk here. Still has that City of Brass open to animate the factory, but if he does, and he doesn't have any mana to play his sword, so I guess he's not going to do that. Exactly, going to take his extra turn. Going to draw here. There's another Disenchant found. And I'm expecting Wilfred here to at least attack again with the factory. Why not? Look at that hand, though. It's full of cards. 8 cards. Perhaps that was a reason for him to use the Disenchant. Using another Disenchant here. Gonna kind of attack the mana base, I guess. But that's gonna be tough, though. So much mana here for Luis. He's gonna take care of the Mishra's Factory here as well. Probably wants to keep Mana Drain open exactly. Not even going to attack. And I think that's a good decision. You want to keep Mana Drain open. Red Elemental Blast here from the top for Luis. Card coming in from the sideboard. A good card to protect you against the Mana Drain. And of course to counter copy artifacts with. Or deal with the Surrender Befriets. And this is what you often see in old school because the threats are usually not as good as the answers. So a lot of decks have a lot of answers and then you just end up in kind of this staring competition here between the players. And I think eventually that's going to be better for Luis if I look at his list. Also because he's got the Gem Day Tomes. There's the pass. Wilfred really has the more aggressive list, but he's not really being that aggressive here in this second game. It's really a control match here. Talking about aggression, Wilfred is at least attacking here. Again, dealing 2 damage. Louis dropping to 20. There's a copy artifact. Is there going to be a response? That's the question. There's a red elemental blast. Exactly. Interesting about red elemental blast, by the way. If you want to use it against the copy artifact, you have to use it to counter the copy artifact, because once it's on the battlefield and copied an artifact, it takes over the color, so it's no longer blue. So it looks very blue. It's a blue card, but when it copies an artifact, it becomes a colorless card. So you can no longer use your red elemental blast. Louis here again going through his hand. Still has that time walk, but I don't think he'll fire it off right now. Also a Gem de Tome there in hand. Just passes the turn. Back here to Wilfred. There's a basic plains. It's usually good to play with a couple of basics for when you run into a player who plays Blood Moon. There's the Ruby activation, attacking here with the 2/2 factory. So Louis dropping to 18. I mean, that Mishra's factory is doing some work. It's dealt 6 damage. There's the pass again. I believe there's a disenchant now in hand for Louis. Again, the activation. Again, the damage dealt. So maybe there's no disenchant in hand for Louis, or he chooses just to take the damage for now. There's again the pass. And Louis again just passing here. I think I see a Sarah in hand for Louis. Not quite sure, but the Spanish player just deciding to be passive here, taking some damage. Gonna drop to 14 already. 8 damage dealt in total by Wilfred here. There's a plateau. I mean, at a certain point, Louis will have to start doing something. I mean, 14 is still pretty good. There's the pass again. Another card. There's a Mox Pearl from the top. Exactly. Wilfred playing it out here. Gonna tap the plains. Animate. Gonna attack here. 12 for Louis. Can Louis find an answer here to the factory? I mean, I think he's got it in hand, but I'm not quite sure. I mean, I guess he doesn't, or else he would have played it out. There's another plateau. I mean, now he's got at least enough mana to play the tome and use the tome if there's a disenchant. Reorganizes the duels here. So 3 plateaus, 2 tundras, and I believe 3 badlands. Gonna tap 4. Okay, there we see the Gem de Tome. So Louis really focused here on the Gem de Tome, on its strategy. There's the mana drain though, so it's gonna drain away the tome. And I think that's a good decision by Wilfred. You really don't want to give Louis a Gem de Tome here. That would almost be a knockout here if you let the Gem de Tome stick on the table. I guess a strategy you could have, if you have the option, is say, I'm going to copy your tome and then I'm going to disenchant it. So you're just going to give your opponent at least a turn with it. There we see the time walk. Are we going to see action by Wilfred? No, he's going to allow it. And remember, he has to, because I think he doesn't have any more counter magic than just a single mana drain. So Louis here taking an extra turn, untapping everything. Let's see what he can do. He's got a lot of mana available. He's going to reorganize the lands here. Going to tap 2, a black and 1. There's a demonic. Is he going to go for a Mind Twist? I don't think we've seen a Mind Twist yet. If he can cast a Mind Twist here, that would be devastating for Wilfred. Uh-oh. 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 I think he's going to go for the Mind Twist. It's just too good. It's too good not to do it. So Louis really playing very strategical, right? Taking his time. Being super patient. Willing to take lots of damage. As long as his big plan works out, and I think it's going to work out here. There's the mind twist. Ay, yuck, yuck, yuck. This is devastating. Mind twist for 4. Mind twist for 5, I guess. How many cards in hand here for Wilfred? So he gets to keep 2, maybe? Does he have 7 in hand? 6 or 7? Not quite sure. Yeah, so 6 in hand. So he gets to keep 1 card. So he gets to keep that one. This is all going to go. What are we going to see? Swords to Plowshares, Balance, Brain Geyser. Oh, and 2 swords. If you could have kept the Brain Geyser, that would have been sweet for Wilfred. But maybe he can find a Time Twister, get back into this. Untap, upkeep, and draw. At least he has a free attack with the factory. That's something. Let's see what he can find from the top. There's a Soul Ring. Yeah, that's not what you want. That is absolute garbage. Does have a blue card in hand, though. There's the Soul Ring. I wonder what that blue card is. If it's a copy art. Oh, it is a Time Twister. Sweet. Oh, this is cool. Perfect answer to the Mind Twitch. You see Louis also applauding this move. This is exciting. Both players are going to, now shuffle 7 new cards. And there's some support from the side there, reminding Wilfred not to shuffle in his Time Twister. And actually, there's one deck that I play Time Twister the most in, which is a Eureka deck. And because I don't play that deck that often, I often do what Wilfred wanted to do, just shuffle your Time Twister back into your deck, which is super annoying because then you find it halfway. You're like, something's wrong here. I shouldn't draw this card. So really nice to have the audience there paying attention as well. So yeah, both players shuffling up here, and this is kind of exciting. Wilfred hasn't played out a land yet. Has got lots of mana to work with. What if he can find the Time Walk again, right? The Time Walk and maybe a creature, big creature. Louis stepped out. I mean, maybe this is exactly what Wilfred needed. Maybe this will get him back into it. To be honest, after that Mind Twist, I thought he was toast, but keeping that Time Twister was just perfect for him. We do see a Brain Geyser there picked up. And lots of lands, I believe. Also, a factory could play out the factory for turn. At least he can pump up the his own factory to a 3/3, deal 3 damage, put Louis on 9. Okay, he's going to go for the workshop. So maybe the workshop here was the Mishra's factory. It was hard to see. Does he have... Oh, he's got a Trike in hand there. Triskelion going to tap for 3. Going to tap 6. Got to be a Trike, right? Yep, Triskelion hitting the board. So this is quite sweet. So a 4/4 here. Does he also have, for example, a copy artifact? That would be quite nice because Louis is tapped out, so he doesn't have to worry about disenchants or anything else. He's going to first animate the factory. Going to attack with the factory. Going to put him on 10. If he can copy the Triskelion here, then he's got 6 direct points of direct damage on the board already. And Louis is in that case kind of on 4. But I don't think he's got a copy artifact because then he would have played it out for sure. So he's just going to pass here. I think the blue card there is a Brain Geyser. So Louis here drawing his card for turn. I think I saw a Time Twister in his hand as well, but he's not. Is he playing with one? No, I don't think so. So believe he only splashed Time Walk and Ancestral Recall. So probably then has one of those 2 cards in hand. If it's a Time Walk, that's really good. A little bit in the tank here, of course, has 8 cards now after the draw. This is going to be a really important turn for him. Ancestral Recall. Okay, there we go. And again, Wilfred is now going to pretend to think really, really hard if he will allow this Ancestral Recall. And he's allowing it here, so 3 more cards for Louis. There's a Mox Ruby. Yeah, I see another blue card there, so could that then be the Time Walk? There's the factory. Yeah, I think that's a time walk. So he found Ancestral Recall and time walk off of that time twister. That's insane. Absolute sick here. I mean, that's the luck you need to actually win a tournament, and he's on his way here. There we see the time walk. Already a game ahead here, and the Spanish player casting Ancestral Recall followed up by a time walk. That's pretty insane. Wilfred cannot do anything about it. Of course, he's going to pretend to think really, 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 really hard. And passes, say, you know, I'll allow it. So he's got another turn after this one. That's insane. The only problem here for Louis is his life total. Being on 10. I mean, he's got to try to remove, of course, the Triskelion here. He's going to tap 2. Okay, there we see, yeah, Divine Offering, and of course then Wilfred's probably going to kill his own Triskelion, so going to deal 2 damage, I guess, to Louis, put him on 8, then use the last counter to kill his own Trike, so that the Divine Offering fizzles, and Louis will not gain 6 life. And again, kind of rearranging his cards here. Oh, is he going to Swords to Plowshare as his own card? Could do that as well, of course. So deals 3 damage here. Then probably going to play a Swords. Yep, then he's going to play a Swords. So he's 1 life up. Yeah, I don't think that's really exactly. That's a better place for it, Wilfred. So that card is now exiled. And what can Louis do? There we see a Rukh Egg. And remember, he's got an extra turn after this one. So, yeah, it's going to be really tough for Wilfred. Yeah, so now the Spanish player is going to take his extra turn. What can he do? And again, I'm just going to say it again. I mean, Louis had such a good hand after the time twister. Ancestral Recall. And a time walk. I mean, that's kind of what you hope to get out of a draw 7. Suchi here in hand for Louis. It looks like he's going to animate, attack for 2 here. So finally some aggression here from the Spaniard. Going to put Wilfred on 19. Going to tap 4. There's the Suchi. And passes the turn. So Diamond Valley on board now as well. So again, Diamond Valley and Rukh Egg together. And I guess we're going to see the same thing as we saw in game 1, right? There was a moment where Louis was on 10 in game 1 and it looked kind of doable for Wilfred with a Disintegrating hand. But then Louis started to use his Diamond Valley more and more and more. And got up to like 20 plus life. And there's a risk that will happen again here. With Louis, of course, having that Diamond Valley, being able to sack the Rukh Egg to it, gain 3, go up to 10, get the 4/4 bird token. I mean, you know, Wilfred needs a very strong turn here. Does, of course, still have the Brain Geyser, also Surrender Befried there in hand. I mean, he could go Serendip or just say, you know what, Serendip's not really going to help me here. I'm going to go max into Brain Geyser, but then you have the risk to run into a Red Elemental Blast. So maybe you want to play out your Serendip first, but it looks like he's going to go here for the Brain Geyser play. Yep, there's the Brain Geyser. Are we going to see a Red Elemental Blast? No Red Elemental Blast here, so some cards drawn. Not quite sure how Wilfred is tapping everything at the moment, but you know, you have to take into consideration these players have played the entire day. It's like 9 in the evening, 10 in the 9. It's around 9 when they played this match, and the tournament started at 10 in the morning, so been playing Magic for almost 12 hours. Yeah, so I guess it was a Brain Geyser for 3. Did he find anything useful? That's a big question. We do see a Suchi in hand. It's going to tap 4, including the workshop. So I guess we're going to see that Suchi. There's the Suchi. 4/4 creature from Antiquities. Also has the Surrender Befried still in hand. Has the Mox Sapphire, so could play it out. Also, of course, the City of Brass. Gonna tap 2 here. There's a Disenchant on the Suchi of Louis. And now the choice is, do I want to use my Valley or not? Or do I want to keep my Valley so I keep it open for the Rukh Egg? So I really like this play here by Wilfred, kind of forcing Louis to make a difficult decision here. That's always good. It's always good to let your opponent make difficult decisions. Yeah, and it's just going to die. And he's going to tap 3. There's the Surrender, taking a damage from his own City of Brass, dropping here to 13. Sorry, to 18. 7 for Louis. 3 cards left in hand and a pass turn. End step, of course, or before the end step, actually, we see that Rukh activation. So he's going to gain 3 life, going to go to 10. There we see Wilfred. He's at it again. Oh, man. So funny. Of course, both players want to win, but there's also a lot of respect here for each other. Here's another factory. Yeah, now he can, of course, swing in with the 4/4 flyer. Okay, he's going to tap 4. What are we going to see? Oh, there's again a Mind Twist. Oh, second Mind Twist of the game. And yeah, it's only lands, but still. So Louis here Mind Twisting the second time here in game number 2. That's pretty tough. And Wilfred kind of again needs something very strong from the top, like a Time Twister. A balance will not do much for him here. So Disenchant in hand there, and the Tundra, and a third card I can't identify. There's a Disenchant on the Suchi. And there's the pass. So again, you know, Louis really taking his time, choosing to be more defensive than offensive, which I guess makes sense since he's on 10. Doesn't want to attack here with the 4/4 Flying Bird token. Let's see what Wilfred can do. Yeah, finding a source from the top. At least it's an answer, you know. Could swords the bird token here and then attack with the Surrender Befried. That's probably what you want to do here. Yeah, there we go. Swords to Plowshares on the 4/4 bird. Life gained here for Louis. Going up 4 life again. So he's on 14. He could swing in for 3 through the air, put him on 11. And remember, Wilfred is top decking here. Oh, look at that. I guess he wants to attack here with the factories. I don't think I would do that. Yeah, just the attack with the flyer seems more sensible. And there's the pass. So Louis here on 11. Draw for turn. Let's see what he can find. There's another land, Tundra. Sorting his mana usually means he wants to do something. He is playing with Sarah Angels, by the way. We haven't seen it, but maybe we're going to see it now. There it is. Sarah Angel. 4/4 flying. Doesn't have to attack when she... Doesn't have to tap, sorry, when she attacks. And they have Sarah Angel. One of the strongest creatures in the game. Together with Surrender Befried, actually. And if you're interested, I made a list of the top 10 strongest creatures in old school Magic. There's the attack, attacking with everything. Does it mean that Wilfred found a balance from the top? That's interesting. That's something that Louis now has to think about. Okay, this seems like an odd attack, but if Wilfred found a balance from the top, it's actually not that odd. It's a good attack. So Wilfred here attacking for 7 in total. Louis on 11. If he takes the damage, he goes to 4. That's really low. There's the activation. Look at that. He is going to bite. He's going to block everything. I wonder if Wilfred has a balance. Going to tap 1. Tap 2. It's got a disenchant here. So disenchanting 1. So this is going to be disastrous here. But I do love this play by Wilfred. You got to play according to your outs. And you're losing the game. You got to try something. And Louis kind of, read the situation correct here. Because what if Wilfred would have had that balance? That would have been disastrous for Louis. He would have lost all his creatures and his hand. There's the attack for 4. And Wilfred dropping to 12. Yeah, it's not looking good here for the Dutchman. I believe that's a copy artifact there from the top. Yeah, things are looking very dire for Wilfred. Already 1 game behind. And it's looking very bad for him here. So maybe the semifinals is the finish line here for Wilfred. He's going to go here through his graveyard. So maybe he found a recall. I mean, recall would be interesting. Oh, he doesn't have any cards to pitch. Sorry, guys. It's a long game. I'm kind of losing it here. He doesn't have any cards to pitch. A recall would be useless. I think it's a copy artifact because it's got wide borders. There's the pass. I believe an unlimited copy artifact here for the Wilfred. There's another Diamond Valley found from the top. There's an attack here by Louis. So Wilfred dropping to 8. 2 more turns to go. There's the pass. Also disenchant in hand for Louis. So could have decided to also attack with the factory. And then as soon as Wilfred animates his factory, play a disenchant on it. Going to tap 3. Oh, there's a Surrender Befreet. So that can block the Sarah. It's not a great block, of course, but at least it's going to prevent the damage taken. Exactly, there's the chump. So Wilfred's going to stay on 8. Tapping 4, another Suchi hitting the board. There's the pass. I mean, if that's a copy artifact, I guess Wilfred will now copy the Suchi. Okay, there's a Triskelion from the top. So does he have enough mana to go Trike, copy, Trike? Tap 3. Another 3, right? There's a Triskelion. I think I would have used another Mox for that, to be honest. Doesn't matter that much, though. But then you could have kept some more blue mana open. Then again, you don't have any cards in hand, so you don't have to pretend to have 2 blue open for a counterspell. So guess it doesn't really matter. There we see the copy artifact. Quick red elemental blast here by Louis. Yeah, it is what it is here for Wilfred. The problem, of course, is that flying Sarah Angel, because it's going to fly over the robots. And it'll probably put Wilfred here on 4. There is a disenchant. One of the things that Wilfred can do is put 3 damage on the Suchi. Then if he decides to attack with the Suchi, you can kill it in a block with with your own Mishra's Factory. And that's at least a little victory. But I mean, Wilfred's in a really, bad position anyway. Okay, he's going to deal 3 here to Louis. And we do see a little glitch. There's the attack for 4. It's going to animate, block the Suchi, jump with the Suchi, and take 4 from the Sarah Angel. Okay, at least the glitches are gone. That's a good thing. Or not. Uh-oh. I shouldn't say it, because when I say it, they come back. So 4 life here for Wilfred. Yeah, this is going to be tough. Ooh, there's an Icy. Yeah, that Icy is not going to save him. Yep, that's it. Louis, congratulations. You are the semi-finalist. And oh boy, this was a long second game. Can you believe it? I even speeded up the recording a little bit. It's going on 120%, so it's going faster, a fifth faster than it was actually going. So this was a very long match. And I mean, you've got to understand the situation here. Both players have been playing the entire day, like I said earlier, and then you've made it all the way to the semifinals. You don't just want to give up. You really want to take time, make sure every decision is the right one. But at the end of the day, Louis here winning and continuing to the finals. So we've got our first finalist, Louis, going to the finals of the Raging Bull series.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor?
Igitus figitus sumba kazee.